Welcome to Street Scene Power Hour again, and we're going to invade your homes, your listening ears, and everything in between that. Welcome to we have our host, Larry Ward, and our other host, not a secondary, but a main host, maybe somewhere up here, wherever you're looking or listening, Rick Ferreira, who is everywhere that you don't want to be.
We're like the Brady Bunch, that show everywhere.
We want to welcome our special guests. We're going to talk about Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show coming up and the Oldsmobile show. We want to welcome Jim Miketa. Is that right? Miketa. See, I did mess it up as usual, and I can't mess up. We have Krysta Sylvester with us as well. Welcome, both of you, to the Street Scene Power Hour, and this is episode 38, Rick. This is
I'm very sorry. I got to apologize to you.
Larry,
I doubted you last week. I was wrong.
Anytime Rick makes a mistake, make sure you get on his case about it, because we want to really make him feel terrible.
I apologize. I'm very sorry. I made my first mistake.
Well, I tell you what, let's get started. Rick, we visited. We didn't have cameras. We didn't have any cameras. We weren't allowed to take our phones into this collection. But we want to let you know that there are a ton of collections hiding out in the Mahoning Valley. In this collection, we've been to Doc Snyder's, and he's open with his collection. He has tours. This collection was so private. There was 250 cars in this collection, and just touch on a couple, just a few of what we saw.
Absolutely gorgeous. I was like in awe the whole time I was there. It was like what's past car heaven? It's up above that,
Yeah, there's no comparing to that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there was Ferraris. There was Lamborghinis.
A room full of Pontiacs, a room full of Oldsmobiles, a room full of Corvettes, and Cadillacs, and then they had the room with all the hot rods in it, with the Yankos, and the Baldwin motion car.
And you know what? There was we have to tell you, this was part of Jerry Dixie's Roadsters tour. Jerry Dixie, he was with Street Rodder magazine for a lot of years, and now he's an Austintown native. He lives up in Austintown, and when they stopped printing Street Rodder magazine, they wanted him to keep continuing to do the road tours that they hired him to do all these years. So he put together Jerry Dixie's Roadsters. He's got 30 members, and they are touring around the country, and they stopped here. They wanted to make a stop in the Mahoning Valley. And tell us a little bit about that, Rick.
Oh, they started out in Columbus at the Good Guys show, and I spent I think a couple days there.
2 days. Yep.
Yeah, and then they cruised on through Ohio, through the back roads and everything, through the Amish country, and then they ended up here in Austintown at the Quaker Steak and Lube. And Greg and I recorded the show on Sunday, and I'll tell you what, it was just a thrill talking to these people. They were from all over the country: Iowa, Wisconsin, Texas, Florida. They were from everywhere.
Yeah, and it was a nice day out, and we really enjoyed that, and look forward to that. If I ever get the chance to edit the show,
you'll get to it. It was fun. It was a fun weekend. And the next day we went to that collection, and I'll tell you, it was a great weekend. Yes.
Well, look forward to finally got the Victory Car Cruise from Cranberry done. It is ready to go on the air to premiere Monday on YouTube. So Monday at 6 a.m. on Armstrong Neighborhood Channel YouTube. Look for the Victory Cruise in down in Cranberry, PA. That was an incredible show. That was fun. And
what was nice about that one? Every car there was different. We never seen them before. So like around here, we're always going, oh, we did that one, did that one. But this show, it was nice.
Good. So look forward to that. Larry, why don't you get you some updates from you? What's going on in the motorcycle world, car world, anything, Corvette world?
Well, coming up next weekend down at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is the AMA's Vintage Motorcycle Days.
Nice.
It's a huge 3 days of a lot of people go there for the swap meet, which is one of the biggest and largest, and you can't imagine all the different things you'll find. But this is a special weekend coming because Bob Wenzel's son Quinn, who's a professional racer, will be racing. Yeah, he will be racing for the Grand Champion title.
Nice.
And the Vintage Movement, which is the motorcycle shop that works on vintage motorcycles, Ted Guthrie, Bob Wenzel, they're sponsoring a young lady, and we had her on, the girl from the Pentons.
Yes.
If you remember her? So she is going to be doing all three disciplines, motocross, enduro, and trials. And some of those will be head-to-head with the guys, and some of the classes will be women only. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a good weekend, see what's going on. I actually will be going down. I'm going to get on the bike, the one that crippled me. So I'm going to get on that. Yeah.
Hey, Larry, I got to tell you, the Mid-Ohio Race Course, if you've never been there, it is one beautiful
It's so much fun. I've driven it.
It's a
Oh, you
class
have?
act, I'll tell
Yeah.
you.
It's
In
a
what,
hard trip.
Krysta? What did you drive it in?
I drove one of their track cars. I went there for a training, and it was a 3-day training, and we got there on the second day because we had already had prior experience, so we were pushed forward. And what was really great about it was the first day, it was sunny, it was beautiful, so they taught us all the lines to hit, and it was about an hour of class and about 5 hours of driving. And they were like, okay, you're done, get out there. And you're racing each other the whole time, and you do passing. They do passing practices. So the lead car would radio to you, pass you, and make you pass him. But at one point he had me pass him on the back straightaway. And then you make that hard right turn.
Oh yeah.
And the guy in front of me, he told him to pass. And he didn't quite get up to speed fast enough. And I'm thinking, I'm going to be the next person, and I'm going to hit this turn. And sure enough, he goes, pass, pass, pass. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. So I downshifted and was just ripping the gears out of this car, trying to get up to speed as fast as I could. And they have markers on the side, and it's like, warning, 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 hit your brakes, turn. And I barely made it to where I got up to the right speed that they wanted to be at, past the pass car, and downshifted and hooked into that turn. And he was laughing so hard at me. He radioed to me and he goes, I almost thought you weren't going to make it, kid. Because I was going, oh my God, because I knew the turn was coming. And I was like, oh. And then the next day, after everything that we had learned, we had to undo it because it poured.
Oh.
So it was like the art of racing in the rain. We had to learn completely new lines. And then it was about trusting the track more than even yourself, and hitting the lines that aren't usually hit, because the pavement is grittier in those areas. And now you're on the outside of a turn, and coming up on the outside of a turn, going full blast into these, these hairpins. And it's like, am I going to shoot off the track? And I remember the first hook that I did, the first turn that I hit, it hooked just like they promised it would. And I was just blown away. And we had so much fun. It was my brother, my dad, and me. And the three of us racing against each other.
Oh, that's competitive right there.
And the thing is, they put you all in the same car, and they basically said, if you pass someone, it's not because you're faster than them and your car's faster. It's because you're a faster driver and you're doing things right. And my brother's the best driver of us all. And there was one point where he was gaining on me, and I was going, he's not going to get me. And I was just ripping gears.
Did it turn out to be a demolition derby after that? You're not getting me. Just start jump the car into them.
So it was that track is a blast. I encourage anyone who's an enthusiast to go out there and do that class and learn the track, because then once you pass the track, you're actually allowed to bring your own vehicle out there. There were a couple of guys out there with some hot rods. There were some guys out there in some Corvettes, a Porsche, and it was pretty awesome.
What were you driving?
They had us in Acuras. That were kind of all hopped up. They were manual transmission, little 6-cylinders. It was fun.
How fast did you go? What was the fastest?
I think I got up to 115 or 120 on the straightaway. That was it. Mm-hmm. That's all they had in them. And at that point, you're downshifting and getting ready for that turn. So it's fun.
That is that track is a very difficult track to learn and to be good and smooth on. Mm-hmm. And you got three coming down that straightaway. You've got three back markers for braking.
Yes.
And usually that first tip in, at least on a motorcycle, you're about 85, 89 mile an hour on that turn, and about 150, 56 down the straightaway.
On a motorcycle.
On a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, but I took Keith's California Superbike school there. It was a 2-day school. But what's hard is when the tires aren't warmed up, and that's a little different for a motorcycle. And that keyhole up at the top is a decreasing radius, and you just really have to realize what not to throttle and just get around that until you can hit the apex and then start to open it up. But, I've seen guys wad up, they rented their bikes and wadded them up right out of the chute. So, but you're right. It's a tough track. I've been off that track once and it was pretty scary, but it's tough to learn, tough to be good on.
You know what I want to mention also, Larry, something behind you is coming up also this weekend. If you're listening to this Street Scene Power Hour podcast on Buzzsprout or any of your other streaming media, what's coming up this weekend, Larry? The second of a 3 series of Dave and Ed's Super Swap Meets at the Campville Fair. I'll be trailering my bikes and tires, and I got Corvette wheels and Harleys and all this I'm going to sell. So I'll be trailering out there and setting up, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, weather looks good. Should be fun. I heard all the vendor spaces are sold out, so I can't wait to get out there. I just have a blast. He gives me a golf cart and I run around all over. No more walking. The last time we were looking at you, we were out there. You were going to try to fix one, but yeah. Well, you know what? I want to touch on let's hit something that is kind of overlooked in a lot of ways is. You think of a muscle car era, you think of the beautiful 50s cars, the 60s. You got your Chevys, you got your Pontiacs, your Chryslers, your Fords. And I know, being a muscle car guy, there's one that's overlooked that should never be overlooked as an Oldsmobile. And, you got the Oldsmobile Cutlasses, the 442s. And we're welcoming Jim Miketa. He is with the Northeast Ohio Oldsmobile Club, the Youngstown chapter. And welcome, Jim. We are pleased to have you on here.
My pleasure. It's the Northern Ohio chapter.
Northern Ohio, okay. And, you've got one thing. I think it's August 21st, if I'm correct. You do have the Oldsmobile Car Show coming up. And give us a little information about that one.
It is Sunday, August 21st at the American Legion Post 737, located on 16465 Milton Avenue in Lake Milton. Show starts at 9:00. It will be a celebration twofold. One, it is the exact date of the 125th birthday of Oldsmobile.
Wow.
And it is our 50th year as a Oldsmobile club, and arguably the oldest Oldsmobile club in the national organization.
Wow.
Hey, Jim, you're talking 125 years. Were they always Oldsmobile? Were they Oldsmobile back then? Or weren't they something else first?
As Ransom Olds is recognized, yes.
Okay.
As REOs and Oldsmobile and that.
Okay, they were REO at that time, and then they went into Oldsmobile. Okay. Right.
But as an Oldsmobile car with the first curved dash, and that it is the exact birthday of 125 years of Oldsmobile.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Can I'd like to just share a quick memory. I'm a little bit older than you, Jim, but when I was younger, like 16, 17, 18, before the W30s and the Hearse came out, it was just 442. And I'll tell you, Hot 101 or WHOT, they would start telling you, hey, the new 442 for 1967. The trucks are coming in. It's going to be there at this time on Thursday at Stackhouse Olds. Got to get down there. And you wouldn't believe the crowd. Yeah. Stackhouse Olds right down there on Market Street. And, oh man, used to go there and you just watch them and you'd say, oh boy, I got to buy one of those. And the old 442s, boy, they were a strong running car and a nice looking car. But man, what a time that era was.
Yeah. Yeah. Jim, some of the just names, some of the Oldsmobile lines and some of the features that Oldsmobile has come up through the years. I mean, they're competing with Cadillac and Buick and all the luxury sedans and coupes and everything, convertibles down there in that era of time. And give us some little tidbits of Oldsmobile that people might not realize or know in this day and age.
Going back all the way to 1901, Oldsmobile was the first car line to offer a speedometer.
Oh, okay.
Going all the way back into there. 1901 in the United States Post Office, first motor vehicle fleet was Oldsmobile.
Okay.
The Oldsmobile Tornado.
Front-wheel drive.
Front-wheel drive. 1966, probably the most iconic Tornado around its introductory year.
They weren't the first one to be front-wheel drive, though.
Pardon me?
They weren't the first one to be front-wheel drive, thow.
No, but
No,
I think,
I'm thinking.
But I think sorry. I think the way that the transmission, the way it was with the chain driven internals and stuff like that is certainly, I think that was a first of its kind, the way the front wheel drive was built on those Oldsmobiles.
Yeah.
Did they make an electric Oldsmobile, Jim?
You're going way back to where that's for my time in that.
Wait a minute. Hold on. We just had to have Rick stump Jim on an Oldsmobile question. That's what we wanted to do.
Yay! But back in the early 1900s, there was.
Well, when you were born,
cars.
Rick?
Yeah. Before that, yeah.
One of the biggest myths, that Henry Ford got credit for the first production line, but Oldsmobile was the actual first automobile that was mass produced.
Okay.
All Henry Ford done was modernize the production capacity.
He streamlined it. So basically, there's a great series on TV. It's about, it has that whole thing of John DeLorean, Henry Ford, and there's a series.
Right.
And I can't remember what is the name of that show. It's like on A&E or the History Channel or
Travel, I thought. Travel Channel.
Yeah, maybe it is a Travel Channel.
Yeah, and it had that. It was automobiles that made history or something like that.
Cars that made America.
That's it. Cars that made America.
Cars that made America.
Now, did they get it right on that show, Jim?
To the best of my knowledge, there's been some extensive research done in that, with regards to that.
Okay. Yeah, and some of your club members, how did that start in Northern Ohio, the Oldsmobile Club? So you said it's one of the oldest, right?
We claim it is the oldest.
Okay.
It was started in Canton, Ohio, with an Oldsmobile dealer. And I've only been in the club. I'm vice president and only been in the club for the past 10 years. And Mr. Yoder, which was Yoder Oldsmobile in the Canton area, that started it. At one time was president of the national organization, a name that is synonymous with the club that is local here, who's been a member probably as old as the club has been, is Mr. Don O'Connell. O'Connell's sewing machine sweeper on Market Street there. ironically directly across the street from what used to be Stackhouse Oldsmobile. So we know how he got involved and who had the first dibs on what cars were coming off the carriers.
Yeah.
But, we're an older member club. We've got a wide variety of cars, members in the club going back into the 40s. And that we've got some racing members that go back into the old drag racing era with cars and that. We cover Northeastern Ohio. We've got some members from Western Pennsylvania. We get into the Akron, Canton, Alliance, Cleveland area. There are 2 chapters in the state of Ohio. We started as the Ohio chapter and then it was split off.
Okay.
We're 125 members strong.
That's a big club.
We are the 4th largest of 47 clubs in the country.
Wow.
Located here right in Ohio. And as you say, with collections and that, there's cars out there that a lot of people don't even know about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Jim, I was trying to buy a 65 Starfire off of a friend of mine. This thing was beauty, red with white interior, white convertible top. What a beauty. He had it all redone, but he's getting up there in age. But then I tried to deal with him and there was no dealing with this guy. So it fell through.
There again, there's a lot of sentiment and a lot of personalization in the Oldsmobile. The fact that General Motors dumped the brand in 2004, which I think was a huge mistake.
Sure.
With, its popularity and everything else. But
same with Pontiac too.
Yeah. Who are we to question that?
Yeah.
But, a lot of these cars are quite sentimental to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got it.
Originals and, so on and so forth.
I got a quick question, and this goes for Krysta and everybody here. When Oldsmobile and Pontiac, when the GM was starting to, when that time hit of when, they were starting to drop models and that, it looked like even before 2004, they were trying to phase Pontiac and Oldsmobile out because there was the old Zalero left. And the Pontiacs where they're phasing models out. And it's like, you kind of question what was really going on here. There was no models left.
And then they started Saturn too, remember?
Yeah,
they started Saturn that time.
Saturn was started in 92, I think.
Was it that late? Okay.
Yeah, and they got rid of, But if anybody noticed that, let me know.
I did. Yeah. I mean, I was always into the car scene and, I kind of just paid attention and I stopped seeing the signs on the dealerships and I stopped seeing cars on the road and started seeing, them go up for sale with, friends of mine in school saying, hey, my parents are selling this car, selling that car. I was before, Facebook Marketplace, but, just passing out flyers and things like that. But yeah, I remember that. I definitely remember that. And I remember people saying, this is the last year for this Saturn and this is the last year for this car. I remember people talking about it even then. Yeah.
And, the big, when they stopped making the Trans Am and a lot of those Oldsmobile models and, that was kind of a turning point in the car industry. And it was a sad point in the car industry, let that history go. But, Jim, some of them, just name some of the models that the local chapter has, like rare models that you really won't see. You mentioned there's some models that you don't see. Which ones pop out in your head?
Well, we've got a 58 Fiesta wagon that was just fully restored, top notch, from one of our members up in Cleveland. We've got some Starfires. We've got some Hearst 442s. One of the members locally here has probably one of the highest rated on a judging scale 442 in the country.
Is it the Hearst version?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we interviewed him, if I remember right, Rick, at the Greenwood show.
That white one.
Yep.
That white
Is it
one.
white?
White one, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
we've got some convertibles. We've got quite a bit of 57, 58, 55 in that area there. Early 60s. We've got cars all the way up to, Oldsmobile on their last hurrah thought that they were going to be, promoting the brand.
Yeah.
For what reason, I don't know. But in 2004, came out with the final 500 of the Alero, the Silhouette, the Bravada, the Aurora. They were all the burgundy color with the special badging and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
All the way up to 2004, we've got quite a few members that have final 500 vehicles out.
Okay.
Also, keep in mind, General Motors and its popularity with Oldsmobile there, and then all the GM workers at Lordstown at the time, and those were the cars to buy.
Okay. I got a question to go around the table here. Larry, you ever own an Oldsmobile? In your lifetime?
Yes. I've owned 442s.
Nice.
And I had a nice 65 Cutlass convertible.
Okay.
But yeah, I had a nice 442 67, 4-speed, 4-barrel, dual exhaust, 442.
There you go. That's when it was, and we can talk about that a little, Jim, is the change of the 442 branding in that, it meant something when it came out, it changed again. And by the time the 80s came around, it changed completely. Krysta, any your dad, your brother, any Oldsmobile experience there?
I do have some Oldsmobile experience, but it's not what you think. In Pittsburgh.
Okay.
In Pittsburgh, last summer, I was at the the Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh, the huge show that they have at Heinz Field. Now I can't think of it. But anyway, so I was at the Pittsburgh's Finest. That's the show.
That's it.
And I was taking a picture of my then boyfriend, and I was, lining up the camera, and he's standing by his car, and I heard sounds, and people were just pulling into park for the show. And I heard some people yelling, but I was focusing on what I was doing. And then bam, I get smacked. This girl pulled into the show in her Oldsmobile, was all souped up, nice and clean. And one of the last models. So I know it had a backup camera, or at least had mirrors. I just don't think she used any of them. And and she hit me square on. I mean, she was gassing it, and she popped me kind of in my upper back area.
Yeah. Oh.
And fortunately, she hit me from the side instead of dead on. So I kept my footing and kind of bounced off. And the funniest part was she hangs out of her window at me, and everybody's like, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "You good?" And I was like,
yeah, whatever.
I was like, I guess. And everybody goes, "Did she really ask you that?" And she kind of just pulled away. And I was like, all righty then, I guess, you know. But it was just the funniest thing. So that's my experience with an Oldsmobile.
And it's funny, you remember the car though, out of that experience. You remember getting hit with an Oldsmobile.
I did. I got hit by an Oldsmobile. Yep.
Rick.
So, and I was the talk of the show. A gentleman with a 1 of 10 Lamborghini was right there, and he's like, "Are you okay, miss?" And I was like,
you know, Rick, you got to go on the horn. Let's talk about an Oldsmobile.
I had a 67 Tornado.
There you go.
About in 72. Real nice one. Took it to Florida and all over the place. It was really nice.
Now, it was that turquoise color, wasn't it? Was it that?
Yeah, it was a real weird greenish color.
Okay.
And when it got dirty, it looked like when it got dirty, but when it was cleaned up in the sun, it looked beautiful. Okay. And I had that for a few years. And then I ended up, I also had a 71 Cutlass.
Okay.
With a Hurst shifter in it. So,
oh, wow.
It wasn't a Hurst Olds, though. They didn't call it a Hurst Olds. It was just that they had the Hurst shifter in it, though. Automatic Hurst shifter.
All right.
Yeah. But those cars were W30 cars, those Hurst badging cars. I remember them.
Yep.
One of them had a 455 HO in it.
I just realized they made a W31. I was talking to a fellow a few weeks ago.
I was going to ask Jim about this. The W designations on the Oldsmobiles, there was a ton of them, and we know the W30, the W31. I thought that was a lower model. Am I wrong on that?
You got me on that one. The club historian isn't with me today. And
Yeah,
he knows all the brands and all the options and that. The W's were all option codes and that in regards to that. You know, I remember early on, you know, when I got into Oldsmobile collecting and that, I grew up around Oldsmobiles all my life. My grandfather, his brother, my dad, myself, we've had multiple Oldsmobiles. And, you know, you look at the W30 and that, and you see the red front fender wells.
yes.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
in the right mind would want to keep the fender wells red. Look around on eBay and that today, and you'll find out what those red fender wells are really worth. Big dollars today.
I think the W.
What the heck was that guy thinking?
I think the W31 was a smaller engine compared to the W30.
Was it
I was talking to the field. I was talking to the
350 in that? I thought
I'm
that
not
was.
sure.
Yeah, you
The
got
guy I talked to, he said it was a
30,
smaller engine.
31, and so on and so forth and that. But
Okay.
I've got a Cutlass, but just a 78 stock 260 V8, all original.
Okay.
But,
Back my era there.
really didn't get into a lot of the muscle on the 442. I had Tornadoes, I had a 98, I had an 88, I had several in between there, but you know, the 442s weren't part of my stable back then, let's call it.
But you know, I have a quick story. You know, I grew up in the 80s, so the muscle cars weren't worth anything at the point. And a lot of my friends grew up with the 70 Chevelles, all that Mustangs and that, and they were, you know, they could pick them up cheap back in the mid 80s. And a friend of mine bought, it was a completely redone 70 442 W30, 455. It had a 4-speed in it, from what I remember. Yeah, he had that, and he beat the living crap out of it. And it was orange with the black stripes. It was gorgeous when he got it. But I remember he blew up the original 455, but another later Olds, like a 75 Olds with the low horsepower, blew that up, put a 350 in it. And then over a weekend, he went drinking and driving, smashed into somebody on the one side, somebody hit him on the other side, totaled the car out. And I'm like, you know what? I sit there and think back then of how much that car is worth now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it was a true 442 4-speed. And, you know, I remember that. And then another guy, and you'd appreciate this, Jim, he had it was a mid 80s Cutlass Supreme, and him and his father made it into a 442 clone from the 80s, and it was gorgeous. It was that charcoal gray color. So I remember that, but I think it had a 307 in it. But, you know, other than the Oldsmobile experience, the only Oldsmobile my parents had was a 96 Sierra when they dropped the Cutlass name for the last year. Just an Oldsmobile Sierra. Nothing extraordinary on that.
Over the years, the popularity of the 442 in drag racing, you know, got popular more so out west than anything else. But, you know, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that Oldsmobile was the only non-factory sponsored race team across the country. The executives of Oldsmobile thought that it was too risky and too much liability. But Oldsmobile back in the 70s in the drag racing series were sponsored by dealerships, not by corporate. It was the only brand that didn't have corporate sponsorship.
Now, did they have, was it the Oldsmobile dealers that sponsored that?
Right. West Coast, of course. Joe Mondello and, you know, got started building the performance engines and that. And the funny story comes, Joe's since passed, real popular and synonymous within the Oldsmobile racing, but he worked for General Motors.
Okay.
And wanted to build a factory race team, and he couldn't do it. And Oldsmobile executives just kept saying, no, 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 no. And I heard this story at one of the national meets, and Joe got to be partners with a couple of the Oldsmobile dealers and was writing specs for the motors and was taking them out of the plant, having them shipped out of the plant via a tire distributor that was on the same plant in Lansing, on the same grounds, to these dealers to put into these drag cars. And he was like the Oldsmobile insider to these dealers to build the performance that Oldsmobile is so well known for. But he was backdooring Oldsmobile motors and parts and that for years.
Okay.
And built that program. Built the Pikes Peak Hill Climb champion and that there and everything else. But Oldsmobile got its popularity from the guys on the street, not from, the corporation itself.
Hey, just me test your knowledge a little bit here, Jim. Where did Oldsmobile get their name at?
Our Ransom E. Olds.
Ransom E. Olds. That's where Rio come in. Then after Rio, he went right into Olds, and then he went into Oldsmobile. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That one I can answer.
Aha. I was a little bit sure, but I wasn't sure.
I see Rick trying to stump him over there.
Yeah.
I'll get him again. I'll get him again.
Yeah.
You probably will.
Some of in your opinion, Jim, what is some of the best engines that Oldsmobile put out? I could sit there and tell you about if you ask me about a Ford engine, I'm going to tell them the 306. That was the best Ford engine ever put out, but some of, in your opinion, or even facts, some of the best engines that Oldsmobile put out in their
You've
time.
got the 455, you've got the Rocket, you've got the 350,
Rocket 88.
Rocket 88,
Yeah.
and that there with the J2 heads and that. Then we got into racing in the final years of Oldsmobile. With the North Star V8 and the and things like that, the Aurora motor
Okay.
was out there being promoted, and that I've got one of those, and it's
Okay.
not what it's cracked up to be as far as running, but nonetheless. But that was a big motor on the circuit for a while there.
Okay.
So there's a lot of engineering that went into Oldsmobile that got overlooked because of the factory non-support and things like that. But it's an iconic brand. It's a good brand. It's been a popular brand. Like I say, we've got 125 members in our club just here in northeastern Ohio. And National's got over 5,000 or 6,000 members nationally.
Wow.
In fact, we just concluded our annual national show was in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, just this past weekend. Another big Oldsmobile show, probably the biggest in the country, is the annual homecoming show in Lansing, Michigan. That was Father's Day weekend. I didn't get a chance to go this year, but they had 600 Oldsmobiles.
And that's
Wow.
a lot in one spot.
Mhm.
A typical local show will get 150, 200 cars.
Yeah.
Weather permitting, we should have 150 plus at our show here in August. Our show used to be at the Carnation Mall. It was always referred to as the Alliance Show, but since the sale of the property down there, we were forced to move it during COVID. We had it 1 year at the Saxon Club, and this will be the second year out of the American Legion post. But to put 150 all Oldsmobiles in one parking lot is a feat in itself.
Yeah. And you know what? I had to stop. And, I totally forgot. I owned a 73 Cutlass Supreme. But the story behind that one was I bought it and I drove it a week and the frame broke on it. So you'd go to the traction arm and the axle broke on one side. So you go down and it broke and the car would dog walk. If you guys remember the 70s very well, and the frames would start breaking, they dog walk and go sideways down the road. Well, that's what this Cutlass did, but I loved it for that week I owned it. But end up selling it to a junkyard for $60.
Oh, that was a characteristic back in the 70s.
Yep.
Frame rails and bumpers. And
yeah, but it had a vented hood on it. I remember that. If somebody took it off, I think it might have been a 442 hood on it. Somebody had put on at one point, but I just forgot about that. Once again, I wanted to mention again where your show is and what day and time and everything.
Post on Milton Avenue in Lake Milton, Ohio. It is Sunday, August 21st. Starts at 9:00. It will be our 50th anniversary. Now, this year it is going to be a non-judge show. In exchange for a judge show and trophies and that, every registered vehicle will receive a 50th anniversary commemorative gift.
Wow.
I'm not at liberty to say what that is right now. We want to leave that as a surprise, but I think everybody is going to be pleased with what they're going to get.
Awesome.
Super. We're going to be recording that show, right, Greg?
Yes. Yeah. As far as we know now, we're going to actually feature that as a street scene show, and we'll be out there.
Do you have any flyers for that, Jim?
Yeah.
We can get, okay.
Rick, I sent you, Greg, I sent you one, emailed you one yesterday.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, what we'll do, we'll post that on our Facebook page, Street Scene, on Facebook. Armstrong Street Scene will post that. Also, we wanted to touch on that Jim will be also out at the 10th annual Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show.
Yay!
Yeah, and we wanted to welcome Jim out there. He's going to hang a Oldsmobile Club poster up there, or banner up by the stage where we'll have the band. And we wanted to, well, hopefully some of your club members will join you and out at our show on July 24th. Weather permitting.
I personally will be there, and I'm beating on a couple people's heads right now to get them to bring their cars out as well.
Great. And you know what? You wanted to put a little self plug in for the last bit of the Street Scene Power Hour show. Again, Armstrong Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show is coming for the second year at Austintown Park in Austintown, Ohio. Just a little bit of quick history on that. Krysta Sylvester has been with us from the very beginning. Larry Ward has pretty much been with judging from the very beginning with us. Krysta, her family was generous enough for the first many years to have it at Shepherd Self Storage in Boardman. They donated a lot, and it was awesome. And we really appreciate that to get us started. And we moved it to Chili's a couple years with Corey, with Corey's dad.
Corey's dad.
Larry.
Yes.
Corey donated the lot to Chili's for a couple years. And it was awesome there. And we moved it to Austintown Park to have some grass. Basically, that's the only reason we moved it, to get some grass, because it gets so hot. And
our feature car this year is what?
I don't know. Whatever you want.
I thought it was that Cadillac. Remember the Cadillac?
I have not. I'm hoping he comes out, because I contacted him.
What's that?
He had a Cadillac that won our grand champion last year.
55 or
that was an amazing.
What was that? What was that, Krysta? 55?
I think it was a 55.
Yeah.
And it was that off-white, like almost vanilla color, and with the, oh my goodness. It was everybody was walking by. You knew where it was, because there was just a crowd of people around it the whole day. I mean, and people would walk away and go, "Can you believe that car?" I mean, everybody.
It's a beauty. It was a beauty.
Beautiful car, yeah.
And Larry, we invited the winner of the motorcycle grand champion, also to come back with us. I've not heard back from him. I hope he comes up. We'll put him up there featured. And I'm trying to remember. I can't remember what bike it was. Maybe you have a inkling of what. I don't know. No. Yeah. Well, he's invited back too. So,
Cool.
But Austintown Park, the show registration begins at 10 in the morning on July 24th. Our rain date is August 14th. And I hope we don't have to use it because, rain dates with the shows will ruin them.
We have a band. We have
we got Vegas coming back. They're going to play an extra half hour. Everybody requested them to come back. They'll be starting to play at 11:30. They'll go to 1:30. And then we have TJ coming back.
TJ coming back.
Yep, he's going to announce the raffle prizes and the door prizes. We'll have some raffle items. We've got we got a dash plaque coming. We got a little surprise in the registration packets for everyone that registers their car there. We've got something extra for them in that. And we're looking to have a great show and blow out that whole park.
Get there early. Yes. And what's nice about the park is it could be 100 degrees and you're on grass. It's nice.
Better.
Yeah.
Very comfortable. Yeah.
And, since Chris has been there from day one, we invited her a co-host on the 2012 was our first show.
It's been that long.
This is 10 years. Long. 10 years.
Our 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
Yep.
Hey,
So wear a crown since this is like my 10-year reunion or something?
Yes, it is. We'll have crowns. I'll make Rick wear the pink one since he deserves that.
Hey, Krysta, there's a lot of sad guys out there right now. You know that. We found out that you got engaged.
I did.
Yes, you did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of sad guys right now.
It was pretty funny. I was told after he graciously asked both of my parents, which in an Italian household you must do.
What an awesome thing to do.
He asked both parents, and I guess my dad said to him, "Are you sure you know what you're getting yourself into?" But he's a gearhead. He's a gearhead like me. He's
good.
real estate like me. So we're we're very similar in a lot of ways. So he's more of the technical gearhead than me. I kind of know like broad spectrum, and he's really narrowed in on certain, he loves his BMWs and his German mades, his Audis, things like that. He loves the Supras and the Skylines and, things like that. So we were laughing the other day because, we both at the same time react at the same, when we see something, we both react the same way, and it's really fun.
Can we introduce him to the street scene world at the car show?
He would ham it up. You may regret saying that. He'll be right in front of that camera like, all right.
Well, you know what you do, Krysta? And maybe for an interview or two, hand him the microphone and have him go into you get a BMW on there or something.
I will do that.
Hand it right over to him. As long as he signs that waiver saying that he can't sue us because we have him on camera. So,
he'll love that. He'll love that.
Larry, your memories from, you've been with us for quite a while judging these motorcycles. What have you seen coming out? Custom bikes, baggers, whatever, give us your take on what to expect coming out to the show.
Well, I think last year we had a nice rounded out group of motorcyclists, everything from sport bikes to the bagger bikes. And there were some rat bikes out there too. So I think the word spread that, hey, come on out. It's a lot of fun. You got a chance to win some stuff, maybe a top bike and see what happens. And I think that's a good thing.
And we had a
lot of bikes there last year. We had about 3 dozen bikes there, Larry?
I don't remember all total, but
there was a decent amount, more than in my recent memory that I could, think of.
Well, we added a couple trophies this year to try to entice them to come back, and we obviously have them right on the top of the park. They overlook the whole car show. They're really on top of the hill, lined up, featured right on, and we've got this year I've got a designated parker for them. So, we want to try to welcome the bike people much more than we have in the past. That's been something that's been on our list to repair on our show. is to get the bikes back in. As far as registration, we had something came up last year that they had to park the bike, walk all the way down, register the bike, and walk all the way back. We're not doing that this year. We actually are going to hand them the registration papers right there when they pull in. They can park, turn their form in. So be a little easier on them. And we've got, it should
right
be
around the corner.
Yeah, it should be a good show. I'm hoping to pack that park completely up, and hopefully it's dry.
I keep looking at the forecast already. I'm like, okay,
I know.
It's not quite yet.
Don't do that. You'll jinx us.
I know. Just
Yeah, and I'm driving all the way from Nemacolin to make it there that morning. So I have a wedding the night before for one of my good friends.
Oh, gosh.
I gotta be up so early.
You better not get sloshed.
Not much of a drinker anyway, but I'll be dancing, so my legs will probably be tired, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, you're not driving a stick shift the whole way up there, are you, with the clutch and traffic?
No, but even if I was, I miss driving manual transmission. There was just something different about it. Paddle shifters are great, but there's just it's a whole nother animal when you're in control of the transmission.
Okay.
Paddle shifting is still computerized. You're not you're not in the gearbox. You are in the gearbox when you're manual transmission. So I learned on a manual transmission Chevy S10 with a stick knob up to here, and I was doing like this, trying.
All right, I have to stop right there, because you know what? Thank you for sharing that. The paddle shifting, I have it on my wife's BMW.
I got it on my BMW.
I hate it. I hate it. It's terrible. It's just give me a clutch.
It's cool. It's cool. It really is. It's just not the same.
No,
they're two very different experiences. That's the thing.
Hope.
I remember in high school having my little cell phone and shifting
Here I remember adjusting or shifting my car and adjusting the tape cassette deck because the heads were out of alignment. So if anybody remembers adjusting their cassette tape, the deck heads, that's what we used to do because we didn't have cell phones back then.
Krysta, what are you driving now?
Well, I actually sold my big truck to my best friend.
Oh, wow.
You had an Audi last year, I think.
I still have the Audi. I still have the Maserati.
Okay.
I replaced the truck though. I had leased it and I put way too much money into it and I didn't want to give it back. And my best friend in Florida, she has a horse farm and she beats the crap out of her little SUV and packs it full of stuff. And she looked at my truck one day when I brought it to her house when I was down in Naples and she goes, "I'm just going to buy your truck from you." And I said, "Okay." So I sold her my truck. So I get to visit it, which is nice. And I replaced it. I have an Alfa Romeo Stelvio.
Oh, wow.
So something that can still handle the weather, still handle the roads. My dog can go in it because, the Maserati's down in Florida. It's not coming back. And then the Audi is up here. And the leather in that Audi's tough. It's so fine and so thin and soft that you could scratch it with a person's nail.
Oh, wow.
So the last thing I want to do is put my dog in it and be very upset that he slid off his little pad that he stays on. So the Alpha is great because, like I said, it drives in the winter. It's great on gas. It's nice and zippy the way I want it to be. So it's bright blue. So it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Jim, I got to get your opinion on a stick shift. Now you open my mind up because, that's pretty much all I'll buy anymore is a 5-speed. Ask Rick, my BMW is a 5-speed. And what are your opinions on that, Jim?
Around town, forget it. I mean, you run out on the road and things like that. I drive around town quite a bit for work and that. And now I like just pulling up the red light and put my foot on the brake and taking it back off and away I go.
There you go. Pleasure driving.
Ironically, I've got a secretary that will not drive anything other than a standard transmission.
Sounds like me.
She's got a little Kia Soul, and she tells me how hard it was to find a manual transmission Kia Soul. And she says, "I don't want an automatic." And it's like, better you than me around town.
Unless you drive in Pittsburgh, huh, Krysta?
I was screaming the other day. I got rerouted on my GPS and I was driving my Audi. I was going to pick up one of my girlfriends for dinner and to celebrate my engagement, actually. And my GPS rerouted me through one entire section of Pittsburgh that was nothing but metal sheets on the pavement, divots in the pavement, lodging cones. Sure enough, I roll up and my tire, there was a part of my tire that was like this. It was just flying and scratched my rim. And I was like, I was going nuts. And I got it fixed, but I was like, you just.
You have a spare in that car?
I do, but I mean, it didn't slice the tire through. It kind of like, it was like, if you've ever skinned yourself and your skin, that's kind of how it was, but it got just the outer edge of the, and they're 21-inch wheels on that car. So they're big.
Oh gosh.
And so I had a guy come over and he was, getting it out.
I didn't tell you that, Rick. I was driving my wife's Jeep Wrangler and I've never seen this happen. We're on 680 and it's starting to pull. I'm going, what's going on in this thing? And finally I hear a bop, 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 bop. I'm like, I got a flat. It actually separated where the tread meets the sidewall internally. So the sidewall bumped out and it just went flat. And the tires, the treads on top, the sidewall sticking about 3 inches out. It just collapsed. It was a 2-year-old tire. Never seen that. I was going to send that picture to TJ Tennant.
Yeah,
Larry,
that's what he says.
Because I don't know if I'm sure he's seen that, but I've never seen that. And that was one brand I'll never buy again. That's the second time I've had a blowout with that brand. So, opinion, Larry, I know you got rid of your orange Mustang. Your, what year was that? Was that an 05 or 06? 7. That was 07. That was a stick.
S197. Yeah, it was a 6-speed.
Yeah. And your opinion on that? Would you get another one?
Well, there's two sides to having a 3-pedal car. There's one side that says if you want practicality, ease of operation, you get an automatic. If you like to row the gears and feel like that, then you get a stick. But I've been on the track with my Corvette, and I've had both a 6-speed 94 and I've had automatics. And the one that I came in second in the region was an automatic. And if I was autocrossing, I wouldn't want anything but an automatic because it can shift quicker than I can. But if, like when I went down to Track X, which is the 3.2 mile road course down in where the Corvette Museum is, that road course there, that I wish I had a stick. Because when you're coming and you've got like a real tight hairpin, then you can start banging the gears down and then accelerate out, which is much more difficult with an automatic when you're just trying to pull it down into second. And then, you just really leave it there because if you put it in first, you're liable to lock up the tires or, it's a lot harder on it. But autocrossing, definitely with an automatic, but the road course, stick shift.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Now we got all the opinions out on that because, when Krysta started talking about that, it reminded me of how much I don't like the paddle shift.
I love my paddle shift.
Yeah. So boring. Boring.
No, it is.
You gotta have that clutch. You gotta grind a couple gears once in a while too.
I'm an old man, so
if you've ever ridden in some of the newer, like the C7s, not the most modern, the C8, but C7s, and that thing, it'll rip through the gears. Boom, 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 just like that. As fast as you can push that paddle, that thing will shift. Now, that would be very hard to beat in a drag race. Very hard.
That's the electric. Electric transmissions now are incredible. It definitely, beats manual transmission. You just can't, you can't outmove the computer like that. But still a lot of fun. And I guess it depends too, I think, on the sound. Some of the cars that they put the paddle shifts on make no sound and it's like, this is fun. Mm-hmm. And if you're in something like a Ferrari or a Mustang or, anything that, anything that's got a little bit of noise to it, that's a little more fun with the paddle shifts, you get a little more enjoyment out of it. But
I was thinking my son has an 04 Mustang and I ruined him. He's got to have a stick anymore. So I was sitting there, it's not my car. So it's one of the right foot to the floor and you don't let up and you just bang shift through the gears and, you know, he's holding on. Like, that's the way you should drive it once in a while. If you don't mind me tearing up your clutch.
Yeah.
Krista, you'll appreciate that. You'll appreciate this. We were at the Quaker Steak and Lube the other day, and we're looking at all the cars and everything, recording stuff. And Greg and I walked by this one car. It's a 01 Z8 BMW. He just walked right by. I just, oh, I couldn't believe it. I stopped me calling. I wanted to interview the guy, and Greg was like, the car was a $250,000 car. And no one was even giving it any respect at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. They were so much enthused with all the muscle cars. And no, I saw that. That was an M2. It was a Z8 M model. Oh my God.
Yeah, those things are pretty wicked.
Whew.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap the show up. Any last thoughts, Larry, on anything that's coming up with you?
2 big weekends, Dave and Ed Super Swap Meets.
Nice.
There's a lot of car parts, just fun stuff, to do. And then the following weekend down at Lexington, Ohio, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, there'll be road racing, enduro, trials, and motocross, as well as the largest motorcycle swap meet in the entire probably 8-9 state area. So it'll be good. So I'll ride the bike down. My Royal Enfield is the featured bike down there this year. So I'll just ride my bike down, and I'm going to horn in. One of the guys got a trailer, so I think I'll just show up, and that's where I'll park for the night.
There you go.
Should be fun.
All right. Larry. Yeah. Rick, whatever your name is, Rick.
Final thoughts here. Don't forget, July 24th, co-hosting is Krysta Sylvester at the Street Scene Car and Bike Show, Austintown Park on Kirk Road there. Also, Street Scene's going to be doing the Oldsmobile Car Show in August 21st. We went through that. We're going to also be doing in September 25th, the Hollywood Nights. Yep. That's a Youngstown group. And then we're going to finish up our season doing the Rust Belt Revival downtown Youngstown. That's a good one. And don't forget, guys, every Sunday, Quaker Steak and Lube has a cruise in. Boardman, I think it's a Thursday night, the Quaker Steak and Lube. And also Lowville, Monday nights, man. Great stuff. They get a lot of cars at these shows. And we got a whole summer ahead of us. We still got most of it left. So let's enjoy it while we can.
And Jim, one final word on the Oldsmobile show.
Okay,
date, time, where?
Again, Sunday, August 21st, the American Legion Post in Lake Milton, Ohio. It is a rain or shine show. So we're praying for good weather. Food's great. We've got inside seating that's air conditioned if you want to get out of the hot weather there.
They have beer? Is there beer there?
No beer. Unfortunately. Special commemorative gift to all cars registered for the 50th anniversary. I hope to see a lot of people there. One quick thing, Greg, with stick shift. They say that if you want to put a cheap security system in your car, all you got to do is put standard transmission. Because 50% of the thieves can't drive them.
Yeah, because nobody's going to steal my car. That's for sure. Cars, Thank you so much, Jim Miketa from the Oldsmobile Club, for joining us. And as always, Krysta Sylvester, always a pleasure to have you on the Street Scene Power Hour.
See you in about 10 days, Krysta.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
We're going to see you all hopefully at the Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show on July 24th. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Rick. For Larry Ward, Rick Guerrera, I'm Greg Roten, and we will
see you
down the road.